Chapter 8, Mishnah 7. In a regular, non-Yibum marriage, all of a husband's property is pledged to pay his wife's Kesubah. When he comes to collect her Kesubah, he must give her his last remaining property if necessary. This is not so in the case of a Yibum marriage. If a man performs Yibum with his brother's wife and then dies or divorces her, she could collect her Kesubah only from the property that he inherited from his brother. Thus, if he lost or sold the inheritance, she might be unable to collect her Ketubah. To prevent this, the rabbis decreed that a Yavam may not sell or deplete any of the property he inherited from his brother. Rather, he must preserve it so that it will be available for his wife's Kesubah. The Mishnah teaches how this should be done. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If his brother left him money, land should be bought with it and kept for a Kesubah payment, and he eats the produce of the land. In this way, the value of the inherited money is preserved, and the Yavam still benefits from it. If his brother left produce that is detached from the ground, land should be bought with it and kept for her Kesubah payment, and he eats the produce of the land. If his brother left produce that is still attached to the ground, Rabbi Meir says we evaluate them, i.e. the fields in which the produce is growing, and see how much they are worth with the produce and how much they are worth without the produce. And with the value of the difference, which is the value of the produce, land should be bought and kept for her Kesubah payment, and he eats the produce of the land. The preceding law follows the view of Rabbi Meir, who holds that any type of property, even movable objects such as money and detached produce that is inherited from the deceased husband, must be set aside for the Kesubah. The sages, however, disagree. In their view, the Kesubah is collectible only from the deceased husband's land. Therefore, only his land needs to be preserved for the Kesubah, whereas money and movable objects belong completely to the Yavam, and he may do with them whatever he wants. We now return to the words of the Mishnah. But the sages say, if his brother left produce that is attached to the ground, it is his. If he left produce that was detached from the ground, whoever is first acquires it, which means the following. If the Yavam is first, he acquires it and may do with it as he wishes. But if she was first, i.e. she took the detached produce from her first husband in his lifetime as collateral for Kesubah, she acquires it in the sense that it becomes mortgaged to her Kesubah. Therefore, land should be bought with it and kept for her Kesubah, and he, the Yavam, eats its produce. The Mishnah states a general rule about a Yavam and Yavama. Once he marries her by performing Yibum, she is like his wife in every respect, except that the security for her Kesubah rests only on the property of her first husband, and not on the property of the Yavam.